Dan Soder.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
I love your living room.
Thanks. Yeah, I do my podcast outside of the house. so,
Boo!
You don't have to vacuum when
guys,
Dave Attell's coming over.
You guys don't want to be in a bunch of dander and...
Oh my God, our house is full of hair. There's nothing I can do.
But it is fun. The moment that was the funniest was when Dave Attell was on my podcast and he came in the living room and sat down on the chair.
He sat on the chair that Myrtle sits in. Myrtle's our dog. And he sat down and it's backlit by the sun and you just see this big cloud of hair, like pig pen. Just this big poof of Myrtle's hair pop up.
And we had a giant stack of mail because we didn't go through our mail. And Dave Attell just plopped down and all that hair kicked up and he went, "I'm here just to open the mail." It was one of the greatest moments of our apartment.
Mortifying. But the podcast we're discussing that you can go listen to now is called Soder.
It is. And that is our office.
Yep, that's our house. That's why
it's
I
our
can't
shared
see mine
bookcase
from there because I don't want it to look like yours. I think that makes sense to have separation.
I like your new place.
Thanks.
Moved out.
You can listen to Soder wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch Son of a Gary on HBO still.
Max? Yeah.
Max. And then On the Road with Dan Soder on YouTube.
Go give that a click.
You could even go back if you want. You could go to season 1 of the stand-ups.
No, don't. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Comedy Central half hour?
No.
No? Okay.
You don't need to see any of this.
Called Not Special?
Stop it.
I'm just testing myself to see if I know your whole resume.
You do.
Great. Or you could watch his old appearances on a show called Garbage Time or a show called Always Late.
If you guys want to see Sparks.
Before we knew. Okay, today's very football heavy. We have to disclose Dan's fandom. I know last week we had Stavros, who was obviously a big Baltimore Ravens fan. Dan Soder is an emotionally attached San Francisco 49ers fan.
Yeah, that's the appropriate way to say that. I am emotionally attached to the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm feeling good right now. I'm feeling third day of sobriety good.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Very
where you're
specific.
Like, that's how Niners fans feel right now, where we're like, we kicked it. Robert Saleh's back.
We're going to get to that. Don't jump the gun. We're
Sorry.
going to get to that. I just wanted to disclose your fandom so that when you come out of the gate here
hot,
mad at the Chiefs, people know where that sort of comes
I'm not.
from.
I don't think I'm mad at them. I just have a fundamental hatred for them.
Sure. It's potato.
Yeah.
Also, just for the record, Nuggets,
I'm all over the map.
Giants, and Boston Bruins. We got them.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
I'm because of my dad, Bay Area, so Giants, Niners.
Yep.
My mom raised me in Colorado, so I'm a Nuggets fan. That was the one team I picked, and I love Katie Nolan and the Nolan family, and so now I love the Boston Bruins.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, we're going to start with the AFC Championship game. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills 32-29 in the AFC Championship game to advance to Super Bowl LAX, with a chance to become the first team in history to win 3 consecutive Super Bowls. This is the 4th time in the last 5 years the Chiefs have beaten the Bills in the playoffs. During that time, while the Chiefs have won all 4 postseason matchups between the teams, the Bills have won all 4 regular season matchups. And the Bills have still not reached the Super Bowl since 1993, which was famously the 4th time in a row that they lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
So
the Dallas Cowboys.
the Chiefs beat the Bills. Poor Josh Allen.
I love Josh Allen, primarily because he grew up a 49ers fan, and they always show that picture of him as a kid and 49ers stuff, and you're like, all right, good for you, Josh Allen. That's why I always have a soft spot in my heart for Tom Brady. But hasn't the city of Buffalo been through enough?
Truly.
Haven't we been through enough in the NFL of having to watch Kansas City, the psyop of getting Taylor Swift to date Travis Kelce, and then the non-calls, the abundance of non-calls. If you live outside of Kansas or Missouri, no one likes the Chiefs. No, we don't like you. No one's going like, oh, but now they're starting to do this. Some people in sports are doing this thing right now where they go, we're witnessing greatness. It's like, okay, fuck them. I'm mad because they beat the 49ers in 2 Super Bowls. 2 Super Bowls that the 49ers were up by 10. 2 Super Bowls that Kyle Shanahan probably could have ran the ball, controlled the clock, and got 2 more victories.
2 Super Bowls that
they never called holding on the offensive line when we had the best defensive line, in years.
2 Super Bowls that
I was at.
You were at.
Yeah, I watched it.
For anybody that doesn't know, going to the Super Bowl is a strange experience.
It's a lucky experience.
It's a very lucky experience, but it is a lot less, it feels a lot less organic fan, and it feels a lot more marketing budget allowed us to send our people to this. There are fans, but it's a very expensive ticket. The hotels are very expensive, so a lot of the times it's like work stuff, or it's like sponsors, or so
a lot of guys in fleece.
It's a
lot of guys that I
vibe.
Dressed up and pretended to be on Billions.
But to be at a Super Bowl when your team loses it stinks.
I would honestly, if someone would have came up to me and gone, instead of flying to Las Vegas and being around a bunch of drunk, obnoxious people, you can give us $20 and we will punch you dead in the stomach. And then you can just stay at home. I would go like, here's $20. Because you don't understand and we've both been lucky enough to also go to conference championship games.
Yes.
When you go to a conference championship game, it is fans. It is,
right.
I got to go to the Green Bay 49ers NFC championship game in Santa Clara. The stadium is rocking. Packers Niners goes back. We want to beat Aaron Rodgers, who's from California. It is the peak fan experience watching your team win a conference championship. The whole stadium is there. Even if you're on the road, it's great because the fans that are there, you're super into it. Even the other team, when they lose, they go like, good luck in the Super Bowl. There's like a thing of, there's one more thing. You go to the Super Bowl and it is just the emptiness of a stripper. It's like that kind of authenticity where you're like, this just feels gross. It's just corporate. But you get high on it. You get high of like, we're at the championship.
This is the peak of the mountain.
We're at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Our team, this group of, every fan says this. This group of guys.
Oh, this group of guys.
Is so special. And you get to this point where you're like, it's gonna fucking happen. And then they go.
And then it doesn't, and you're covered in the other team's confetti.
There you go.
A nightmare.
Ew. And you just want to roll on your tummy and go to sleep.
Just want to kick your feet up and watch some videos and go to sleep.
Sucks. And the worst part was, you got me a ticket in 2019.
Yeah.
We had just started dating, and
trying to impress him.
I mean, what a way to impress me. Also, one of my childhood friends at the time was the running back coordinator. Mike McDaniel was on the 49ers.
Now the head coach of the Dolphins,
yes.
for the record.
It was very fun. There was a very fun moment in the hotel the night before the Super Bowl, because you were still at ESPN, where we went up to Mike's room and he was like, do you guys want to see the first 15 plays scripted? And by the way,
it means nothing to me.
I
don't know what any of that is. Thanks for showing me. I can't help.
It was calculus.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to tell anybody what that was or what it says.
Fifth play is jet boot 77 right swing, and you're like, no one fucking knows what that is. But
except Mina. I could have probably texted Mina and told her.
You could have taken a picture and got it.
Mina, check this out.
And she's a Seahawks fan. She would have wanted our demise. But I remember specifically Mike was like showing, and then he stops and he like holds the page against him and he goes, is she cool? And I was like, yeah, she's not going to snitch on you. But it was an experience that like we got to go to the Super Bowl together.
Yeah.
And you didn't care because the Patriots were eliminated.
Well, I care in the sense I care.
We were just you were like, you had a cool leather jacket on. You were a hot girl with a leather jacket.
I don't remember at all. How do you remember what I wore to the Super Bowl?
When you have a horrific experience, everything burns in your brain.
It's so true. Wouldn't you know?
And the thing I remember is you just when I knew the Niners were going to lose. Because do you remember the two 49ers fans in front of us?
I do. Yes.
And we were primarily in a Chiefs section.
Yes.
Fred Warner picked off Patrick Mahomes, and I got loud.
Yeah.
And then the two guys in front of me got loud, and then the Chiefs came back and won. And at one point, you go, "We need to leave before they drop the confetti." And I was like, "Yeah." And you leave a Super Bowl, it
stinks.
Listen, Philly fans or Chiefs fans. I hope Chiefs fans, because you don't know how this really feels, because you lost to the Bucs in the COVID year. When you leave a stadium after your team has lost the Super Bowl, it is leaving a funeral. It is that sad.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
I wanted to do the kind of cry where I go, like out of my mouth. Oh, I hope the Chiefs feel that this year.
Yeah. And look, if you're a new fan and you're a Chiefs fan and you got into the Chiefs because of Taylor Swift, you just need to understand where in the stream you're entering. Like this water has been running down this mountain for a long time.
Yeah.
And you are welcome here, but this is sort of you've been very lucky as a fan to see what you've been seeing. And I have nobody wants to know what I think about being sick of the Chiefs because I'm a Patriots fan and I know people were sick of us.
Yeah,
and
but
I get it.
You ever run into an ex after a breakup, like an old ex, and you go through like a breakup that and you go, you're not that bad. That's how everyone is with the Patriots now.
We're going bring back the Patriots. They always
you guys
so
were
bad.
kind of fun.
Yeah.
We really hated you guys, but I think we gave you a raw deal.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like growing up in Boston, a Red Sox fan? Do you have any kind of heat for young Red Sox fans that think, we win the World Series once every 5 years?
I think like heat within your fandom.
No resentment?
No, because it's like I just want them to know what they are in. Like, I think everyone should just be aware of where they are in their team's story and act accordingly.
Well, because it's interesting with 49ers fans, young 49ers fans, anyone under the age of 25, I would say, kind of resents older Niners fans because we won so many Super Bowls growing up and all they've seen is 3 Super Bowl losses.
Yeah, tough.
So they're kind of like, fuck you guys, stop acting like, and we're like, oh, it was something. The mountaintop is sweet.
I think that what the Bills need to push them through here, you mentioned the Taylor Swift psyop of it all.
Yeah.
I feel like we really need to lean into the Haley Steinfeld. I mean, Josh Allen, the quarterback, the guy that's like the stereotypical like star of the team, is dating a famous woman,
an incredible actress,
and I never see her at the game. I feel like we're not making enough of a big deal about the 2011 Academy Award nominee for Best Supporting Actress for True Grit at the age of 14.
I forgot she was in True Grit.
Yeah.
Do you think she does that consciously? Do you think she's kind of like,
maybe,
hey, I don't want to be burned out? Because Taylor Swift is almost like a brand. It's like a machine.
Almost.
It is.
Yeah.
It's just a brand. It's a machine. Yeah. So it's like they don't mind when people are sick of her, whereas Haley's like an actress and you kind of have to like them to go see their movies. And it's kind of like a different feel.
She also does music.
She does.
Her debut EP, Haze? H-A-I-Z, went platinum in 2015.
What?
Follow-up album did not. So
sophomore slump.
Yeah, I don't know, just maybe we should all be listening to her music. Maybe we should give her a show that's just a Seinfeld parody.
It's called Steinfeld. She's like, Josh,
I just think there's something there. If we're
why do they call it an interception?
Cover her in ketchup and mustard or something. I don't know. Bills need to break this curse that they've got.
I say Josh Allen has to go full grease. He has to come back a bad boy. He has to come back next year, call her up.
We'll see.
And he's like, I don't take any, because he's too sweet. He's a little mountain man, and he's like, I just love my little wife, and I love football, and I like to run it. Now, bad boy persona.
We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
Man, were we upset?
Upset.
Our apartment was upset when the Chiefs locked it up.
Both of these games, we I think, did we watch the whole Chiefs game, or did we turn it off when we could tell they were going to win? I don't remember.
We turned off the Eagles game when they started blowing them out.
Yeah, so let's talk about that now. The Eagles beat the Washington Commanders 55-23. The Commanders kept it relatively close through the middle of the game, but fumbled 3 times, and the Eagles were nearly perfect themselves. A very cromulent ending, Brady wrote in our document here, to an extremely successful above-expectation season for the Commanders, and one of the best rookie campaigns ever for Jaden Daniels. Apparently, because Brady, our producer, is a Commanders fan, he says the general vibe check of fans right now is content.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think makes sense. I think that's the way to be.
They are where Lions fans were last year. Lions fans did the thing last year where they were like, a playoff win? Please, sir. A playoff win?
Oh, boy, that sure would be something.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've had a playoff win.
Are you sure, mister? Could you spare one?
And then they got one and they go, championship. And you go, all right, Lions fans, you guys got one. They go, I want a championship. I said it to my friend who's a Lions fan. It was the thing when you were a kid at Christmas where you're like, a bike. All you have to get me is a bike. I don't need any other presents. And then they get you a bike and you're like, There's no other presents.
So there's nothing else to open.
You don't want to give me anything else. And they got their bike.
Yeah.
And that's why when the Niners came back in the NFC Championship game, it didn't feel bad.
Yeah.
Commanders.
You got your bike.
Yeah, you got your bike. Commanders, you got to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you have a quarterback that looks incredible. He looks awesome.
Fun to watch.
The way he throws the ball looks so effortless that he just like snaps it and it goes. I mean, the Hail Mary he had this year. There were so many Jaden Daniels plays that you're like, this guy, I'm a completely benign to the Commanders.
Yeah.
I love Adam.
We're rooting for you.
But I love Adam Peters, who came from San Francisco. Adam Peters is the secret weapon for the Commanders. He's a great general manager. It was very fun to watch that. You like watching a team that you don't care about win because there really isn't. It's not like a team you hate when they win. You feel gross, or when your team wins, you're like, frozen with it. You're just kind of like, I enjoy watching this.
Not only did Commanders fans get all the things you listed, but they also got arguably something better than a trip to the Super Bowl, which was a credibly reported article from Seth Wickersham and Don Van Natta Jr., two very respected names in sports media, sports journalism, wrote for ESPN, reported over the weekend that former Washington Commanders owner Dan Snyder has absolutely hated watching the team's title run from afar. I read the article. Apparently, they spoke to somebody who's like an associate of Dan Snyder's who went out to dinner with him in London. And they asked him, like, what's the vibe around the Commanders? And they're like, he hates it.
Love it.
Which is exactly what you want, because Commanders fans, part of why they've been so miserable for so long is because they were owned by a horrendous owner who was like almost unanimously agreed to be one of the worst owners in all of sports.
There is like politics in the NFL. You see it all the time with certain stuff. The way they talk about other people, or the way they'll talk about media trained athletes. The athletes are really good. The coaches are really good. Talking about refs or whatever. A lot of the times people don't bash owners. They'll like say something that they don't like, but then they'll go like, but they run a good organization. People will go out of their way. When Snyder owned the Commanders, people would go out of their way to be like, fuck him.
Yeah.
Like people, especially coaches that worked for him, the second they didn't work for him anymore, they were like, that was a nightmare. The fact he's punching air now, that Dan Quinn has the command, you're like,
exactly what you want.
Yes, Dan Quinn, the perfect stepdad to come in and save this family with his backwards hat. Oh, you're so
for anybody
cool.
who might not be familiar with how much Dan Snyder stinks, we've compiled a list of some of his greatest offenses.
Oh yeah, dude. I want to know. Okay. I want to know how he charted on all of his hits.
In 2000, the Commanders became the first team to charge fans to watch training camp practice. Used to be able to just go to that for free.
Wild.
Because it's training camp. He charged them. In 2006, this was my personal favorite. He was caught selling expired peanuts from an airline that had recently gone out of business at FedEx Field.
Wait, now you're winning me over.
So Independent Air went out of business. He got the peanuts that were expired and then not gave them away for free, sold them at the stadium for money.
This isn't Voss water. This is rainwater collected and put in a Voss jar. He goes, I charged you $13.99 for that water.
Between 2004 and 2009, he sued the team, but Dan Snyder sued 125 season ticket holders who asked to be released from multi-year contracts. That was, if you'll notice those years, pretty big recession happening there in 08, 09. Sued them because they had signed up for multiple years and they were like, hey, can I delay this for a year? I really can't pay. And he was like, no, and I'll sue you. But at the same time was saying that there was a waiting list of like 20,000 people who were dying.
So just turn around and give them this.
You'd think. But he sued his own fans.
Yeah, keep going. What else we got on this guy? Because honestly, the Peanuts thing did push me back towards liking him.
Oh, we'll get there. 2011, he sued the Washington City paper and sports writer Dave McKenna specifically for defamation over an article listing his controversies that featured a cartoon of him as the devil. 2013, amidst an uproar for everybody saying they needed to change their name from their former name, he said, we will never change the name. It's that simple. Never. You can use all caps. He also refused to meet with Native American leaders calling for a name change, and then later he changed the name.
That is such a funny thing of getting caught completely bailing on your, like,
Never. You can write it in all caps and you can burn
Look
it
at me in
your
the eyes.
skin.
Put this in the article. Look at me in the eyes. We will never. I will die before we'll do that. 2 years later, he's like, we have decided to be the Washington football
It's just
team.
the right thing to do. This one was crazy. He worked with county officials for the county that their stadium is in to ban pedestrians walking into the stadium, which essentially made it so that any off-site parking had to close down because you could not park your car somewhere else that wasn't the stadium and then walk into the stadium. So
Wait, what?
So it forced everybody to park at the stadium if they were going to park, which means that they were going to have to give the money for parking directly to Dan Snyder and the Commanders. And so he increased parking from $10 to $25.
That is a evil move.
He lobbied for a monopoly on parking and then raised the price when he got it.
What if you lived by FedEx Stadium and you just, or whatever it's
There's
called?
probably like a, I don't know, maybe they had like a bus or something that would bring them in. I don't know.
Just stopping buses at the gate. He's
They
like,
claimed
you
it was
can't
because
come
people
in.
died, and you're like, they died after the ban. So pretty crazy. And then, of course, a pretty big one that most people would have led with, but I thought we really needed to get that peanut content out there before we got to the stuff that kind of drags the mood down. But in 2020, there was the bombshell report from the Washington Post where 40 women alleged harassment, discrimination, and sexual misconduct in the workplace. This is where it's revealed that from 2008 to about 2013, Dan Snyder had used behind-the-scenes access to cheerleaders' partially dressed photo shoots as a perk for clients and ordered his video department to create lewd DVDs of undressed behind-the-scenes footage that were labeled as, quote, for executive meetings. There's also a $1.6 million payment revealed to a woman he harassed on his plane. There's a lot more.
Do you think that's how the Peanuts thing got passed? Is they put on one of those DVDs and they're like, he's like, so I'm going to be selling old Peanuts. And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
There you go.
Whatever, dude. You got more of this?
Okay. And is she still here?
There's so much more. It's just like how much time of this podcast.
I don't know, but that's why
this guy stinks. He's gone, and he's devastated to see them doing well.
It is, if you're a Commanders fan, it has to feel like you got a tumor removed from your brain and everything is back. You're just like, everything feels good again. They're winning. I mean, the NFC East is about to be, if the Giants and the Cowboys can get their shit together, Cowboys, I think, are going to stink.
We'll talk about that in just a moment.
You love to see it.
You do love to see it. A lot of coaching searches going on right now in the NFL, some of them coming to a close. Before we get to the big news of what is going on with the Cowboys, the Jaguars hired Liam Coen. He did a press conference, and I want you to take a look at this clip. Very short clip. Let's go to the clip. I think we have a clip.
Duval.
Again?
Duval.
Can we zoom in on his face a little?
Dude.
Duval.
That is a white guy drunk hitting on a black girl at a Jacksonville bar, like, too late. You know? Duval. And she's like, excuse me?
You think he wants to have that one back?
Yes. That is crazy. Here's the thing about press conferences like this. Dan Campbell, infamous bite kneecaps.
Eat their kneecaps.
And we're like, crazy.
Okay.
But it wasn't that.
No.
It wasn't. It was him being Dan Campbell. So once you start winning, the Dan Campbell feels a lot better. We go, yeah, eat their kneecaps. Look at this guy. They're gritty.
Yeah.
They fight.
Oh, I get it now. It all makes sense.
I don't
Nothing
think
will ever contextualize.
Duval. Which, if you're a Jaguars fan and you have a bad season next year, you better be saying that.
Oh, God. That broke. I saw everybody just go like, oh, no.
Oh, Duval.
Almost worse than was it Adam Gase who had a press conference a couple years ago where
the
his
Jets?
eyes were like,
yeah. Where he
and
got hired?
everybody was like, what's up with this dude? This is the most I've seen anybody talk about a coach's press conference.
The other one I think of that makes me laugh of trying to be what they are was when Brian Kelly left Notre Dame and went to LSU. And college football coaches always, or at basketball games, is always where they unveil them and they grab the mic. And like Jim Tressel infamously went like, I'm here to beat Michigan. And they went nuts. Brian Kelly at Notre Dame looks like every friend of mine's dad that likes Notre Dame. Like they look like a Midwestern guy that's like, go Irish. And he goes down to LSU. He's like, we gonna go down there and we gonna beat. Dude, if you can find Brian Kelly at LSU, it is so, he's like, the LSU. Yeah, here it is.
It's a great
came
night.
about after
It is.
Yeah, the accent, brand new.
I'm
He
here
comes-
with my family.
My family.
And we are so excited.
down here, we're going to go down win. And then, like 4 days earlier, he's like, well, you understand that a offense as ours needs to run at a certain...
It is the same as this Duval thing where it's like you don't have to be where you're going.
Yeah.
They want you to be you, and through over time you can integrate with where you've ended up. But you do not. There's no win. It's like that stupid commercial of the guy being like, "High tide." It's like you seem
High tide.
you're like practicing for
High tide.
Duval. It's
Hey,
tough.
I would say the only way you could do this properly is Bears' new head coach comes in and just full north side accent. He comes in. He's
well,
like,
I don't know. He'd have to talk to McConaughey. It's a very difficult
he goes,
impression
the
to
Bears.
know.
I'm almost there.
The Bears.
It would have been sick. That commercial would have been cool if he busted out like, there it is, a Chicago accent. I'm in it. Let's go.
You're an actor. It should take
My
less.
brother Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, it's always Matthew McConaughey. Why am I sitting outside eating shrimp? Because I listen to AI.
I don't even like shrimp.
I don't even like rain shrimp.
The Cowboys have hired Brian Schottenheimer as their new coach. Jerry Jones, in the quote about hiring Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach, said, quote, Brian Schottenheimer is known as a career assistant. He ain't Brian no more. He is now known as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I have so many issues with that quote, aside from the fact that he took a career assistant and was like, we're going to be the team to give this guy a shot, thinking his fan base would be like, thumbs up, I guess. And instead they all jumped off of a bridge at the same time. Why would you bring up his number one critique in the introduction of him as the coach and then not even say he ain't a career assistant no more? He's our head coach. He says he ain't Brian no more. He is still Brian.
Yeah, that's still his legal name. He didn't legally change it to the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Imagine like being taken to like Thanksgiving dinner to meet your significant other's family,
Yes.
and they go like, she used to be a fucking land monster, but then she lost 100 pounds, and now I'm raw dogging it. So she is no longer the fatso from Minnesota.
wild.
She is Ellen, and she's like,
She's had a lot of boyfriends before me.
I mean, this truck
It's like,
stop slut.
why are we bringing this up?
She is a lifetime one-night stand, but I am changing
I'm
that.
taking her home forever.
I want to get itchy and get rashy with her. It is. I would have been like, you wonder if Brian McCarthy is doing that like embarrassed child thing with an adult where he goes, can you please stop doing this? Like, he goes, can you please stop talking, Jerry? I mean,
Mike McCarthy?
no, what's his name? The new coach, Brian.
Oh, Schottenheimer.
Schottenheimer being like, can you please stop?
Can you say less? It's the thing about Jerry Jones. He's very old, and every time he talks, you're like, is that what you meant to say?
If I am a Cowboys fan, if I'm a Commanders fan, you got to feel pretty good to know that the Cowboys are where you were about 10 years ago.
Of course.
Where you go, can you die or leave? Can you just die or leave? And then Jerry Jones is going to get those like old dog eyes that are like gray, and he's like, draft him. It's kind of like what happened with Al Davis with the Raiders. He just started making such wild moves that like people that had any money invested in the Raiders were going like,
okay,
we need to remove him.
You need to stop.
And the
doing
Cowboys
that.
are, I think I'm correct in saying, like, they're a top 3 value in franchise in sports.
Yeah, that's a
They're
very
worth like
lasting.
$8 billion.
Yeah, they had that big boom where everybody was a Cowboys fan, and those people are paying for it now.
Sweet. Oh, Lewis, you loved Emmitt Smith? Well, how's that feeling? My buddy who's a Cowboys fan. I know he's going to listen to this and be like, oh, it sucks. Because Jerry Jones just isn't doing anything where good owners get out of the way and let the people do. Like, Robert Kraft let Bill Belichick just basically be like, oh, can you just.
Yeah.
He helped.
There's debate.
But
Yeah.
like he got out of the way and was
Sure.
like, oh, let the people do it.
Empowering the people to do their own jobs instead of trying to do their jobs for them.
Jerry Jones is a guy who will never admit that he wants to be the head coach of the Cowboys he just wants to do it all.
Yeah.
So he's going to hire a lifetime assistant coach, as he called
Who's no longer called Brian.
He's now called the head
coach of the Cowboys. He was asked, Jerry Jones, about the fan reaction to the announcement, and how that made him feel. And Jerry Jones said, quote, "There's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes.
What?
Very low percentage."
What does that mean?
In November of 2023, in an appearance on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, the Cowboys head, so Jerry Jones, was asked if there was anything he wanted to say to the team's fans, and he said, quote, "The rough times that you have with sports, everybody has it. You can't really play unless you have some hard times. It is the absolute glory hole to have that elusive win to be the champion." And in August 22, Jerry Jones said, and there it was, glory hole. And in 2012, Jerry Jones said, "I've been here when it was glory hole days, and I've been here when it wasn't. Having said that, I want me some glory hole."
So he does know what he's talking
So
about.
glory hole, I believe, it
Is
before it became
the greatest place to go late on a Saturday night
Okay,
when
so
you're asleep.
when you're a husband who's on the road a lot, you can't make that joke. He's very faithful and he loves me very much.
Yeah, obviously.
But
You're
a
my
glory
fucking
hole is
queen.
like a hole in the wall.
You stick your penis
literal,
in.
that you put your penis into.
I think what it was for back in
Back
the day
then-
was like for closeted gay men.
No,
No?
that's not where Jerry's going with this.
I think that's where he's going.
It might be what it was. But let's leave whatever you were wanting to go do.
That's some trucks. That's some rest stop
Right.
talk from Jerry Jones.
I think it originally meant it was like something in like mining or something, where like you found this
Oh.
hole that had all the gold in it, or something. There is an old like prospector way.
That is the oldest shit you can go.
It's so crazy to not in all of this time update your software and go like, oh, glory hole pretty publicly means something very, very. He's just so committed
Yeah.
to saying
It's
like,
like, I want a glass bottom boat. Who doesn't want a glass bottom boat? I'm sorry. You're gonna be, you're like, Jerry, that doesn't mean an actual boat made of glass.
what
He's
does
like,
it mean?
I think it's where someone like poops on it.
What? What do you mean?
He's like, I'm trying to get it. He's like, I want a rusty trombone.
Okay, that I get, but what's this glass bottom
Look it
boat?
up. Bring it up.
I won't. Please don't look that up. We're on work computers. Please don't look that up. We all learned something here today.
I just want a glass bottom boat for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. I'm trying to watch a glass bottom boat happen. And you go, no, you're not. Jerry, no, you're not.
Also,
Oh, God.
just one more kick in the other nut to Cowboys fans. There was a lot of talk about former tight end Jason Witten joining the team's coaching staff. That
That's
was
fun.
supposedly something they were going to do this season. It was pretty much all but reported. But owner Jerry Jones squashed that on Monday and said he's not expected to join his former team in any capacity for 2025. So that's
Why was he so passionate about shooting it down?
I don't know. Certainly, Jason is an outstanding coach, Jones added. Certainly.
He goes, but he's no furry
But
party.
not for us. Yeah.
And I like to go to my
He's no-
furry parties. And you
He's
go, I
no
don't
Cleveland Steamer. Katie Raptors part. All right, moving on, because please.
I was trying to think of other ones.
Did you see the Shedeur Sanders story that he interviewed with the Tennessee Titans, who have the #1 pick?
Sure.
He had a 45-minute interview with the team that featured a FaceTime phone call from his father, Deion Sanders.
I'm not surprised by that. I
Yeah.
think anyone that's surprised by that hasn't been paying attention to Shedeur Sanders. It's like Deion has orchestrated his entire there's two sides of me. There's a side of me that feels like, all right, Deion, like let the guy be his own person. Like let him interview. If I'm a coach, I'm like, I don't want to talk to your dad. I want to talk to you.
Right.
Your dad's not going to be on the field
Right.
while
Well,
we're playing.
maybe.
But he might.
He might.
But so there's the part of me that's kind of like, just let the guy be his own person. But then there's also a part of me that didn't grow up with a dad, and you're like, that's so sick. That's so cool that he coached your Pee Wee team, your high school team, your, went to a historically black college, made him great, flipped to Colorado, almost got to the playoffs your senior year. I mean, has been like, Deion went through it. So you have kind of like a Sherpa, like leading you up the mountain, being like, because a lot of these guys, the problem in the NFL is they're around people that are just succubuses. They're just taking from these players. They want their money. They want to be in their spotlight. Deion already did it. So I think it's different with Deion. I feel like it's like, hey, I've been here. Watch out for this trap. Watch out for this trap. But there also is a part where you're like, Leave him alone.
Let your son have his own spotlight.
For someone like Travis Hunter, I think that is incredible.
Right.
I think you've kept Travis Hunter pure in a way that if he didn't have someone like Deion, he might have been exposed to a lot worse shit.
But he's not his dad.
Yes. If I'm Shedeur, I'm doing the like, Dad, stop. I want to talk to the Tennessee Titans.
Please stop FaceTiming my maybe boss.
Take your sunglasses off. You look like you're from the future. Dad, let me talk to the Titans. And if I'm drafting Shedeur or Sanders, I am nervous about that.
Yeah, right? Of the involvement of your father in your career, I think.
Because a NFL locker room, it is proven that you need the coach to control the locker room, but the team to be a team. They need to form. And if your dad is there, like stage momming you, smile.
Big smiles.
Smile.
Energy.
He's like, and I'm a little cowboy, here I go. And Deion's doing it. Like, is Deion running the plays on the side the way like pageants and toddlers and tiara moms are doing it? Where he's like, after, like, that is funny, the thought of Aaron Andrews, like, talking to Shedeur his rookie year, and Deion's behind the camera going, smile. Yeah. How do you feel about it?
I don't know. I think I had a take about it that people were like, I feel sad for you. But I'm like, at a certain age, I sort of needed to be separate from my parents.
Sure, everyone
does. You need to move away and like discover you separately.
That's why you can love them as adults,
right?
Because you're an adult and you can kind of understand them better.
Yeah. And also, like, they need to know the period for being able to ground me has ended. You can no longer tell me I'm in trouble and make me not be able to leave my room.
Yeah.
And so you shut that door. You know what I mean?
I'm 40.
That's
what I said to my mom.
I'm not yet.
I said, you can't know.
You're 38 today.
You're 22 years
38.
old today.
But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting, all these stories about how around he is just like, I think I'd be annoyed. But I didn't think of it from your perspective of like, you didn't have a dad around. You would have killed for your dad to FaceTime into one of your baseball games. Even.
Oh my God. To be able to go like, hey, I have questions about this, and him to go, and I have answers for you.
God.
You're like,
different life.
Let me talk to you.
It wouldn't be as funny though.
No, but I'd be crazy
adjusted.
Just
teasing you. Have you heard the story about the Paul Skenes rookie card?
No.
So, you do a card segment on your podcast. This felt kind of in line with what you're into. So they have these rookie cards that feature a patch that was worn on the debut jersey of a rookie, and they put that on the card. Yeah,
I had a card released this year on Allen and Ginter. And I'm in some of those.
From your.
I'm in. Yeah, they wanted it.
Stand up. They did.
They genuinely wanted me to give them a piece of clothing to do that with.
Huh.
And I was going to give them the. I still have the button-down shirt from my Comedy Central Presents.
So you probably still wear it.
Yeah.
So
you're not wrong.
We don't retire that.
But yeah, so they do that.
Okay, so this is a one-of-one card. It's the only one that exists with this patch for Paul Skenes, the phenom from the Pirates. An 11-year-old baseball card collector found that card.
Great.
And Paul Skenes and the Pirates have been trying to get it from him. They want to make an offer to him so that Paul Skenes can have it.
So funny. We're in the age where baseball players are asking kids for their cards back.
So last week, it's also autographed, I should mention. It's the Skenes 1-of-1 rookie debut patch autograph card. And last week, he decided to auction it off for what could be a figure in the 7 digits. He rejected this offer from the Pirates. This is an 11-year-old kid.
Smart kid.
From Los Angeles, from California.
Oh.
2 Pirates season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years.
He lives in L.A., though.
A softball game for 30 at PNC Park, plus coaching from Pirates alumni.
Is this with the money?
No, this was what they tried to offer before he was like, I'm going to go sell it.
Yeah.
Watching a game with Livy Dunn in her suite.
Man, if they would have gotten a horny, like, 13-year-old, he'd have been like, done.
Is 11
it's in the mail.
Soon?
Yeah, 11,
like a year
11
too
you're
soon.
like, Santa's still kind of real, I think. Like, 13, you're like, Livy Dunn? She gives me a pair of her socks to take home. I'll give him the card. I'll walk him the card.
Christ.
And you're like, oh, this kid's horned up.
So, okay, they missed the mark on that. That was Livy's offer.
That's
there's
so
a-
funny. She's like, I'll sit with the little twerp for a game.
15 minutes, I'll swing by the box.
I'll let him smell my hair.
And a spring training experience like no other, in quotes, with a private tour, meet and greet with Paul Skenes, 2 Paul Skenes autographed jerseys. You can take BP and warm up with the team and, quote, other unique experiences. And he said, no, thank you.
This kid's gonna he's gonna be the first cajillionaire.
I mean,
we're watching the beginning of the first trillionaire.
There have been 5 cards that have sold for over $1 million. One was like a 52 Mickey Mantle card, went for I think 13 million.
Yeah.
There was like a Honus Wagner card from 1909 to 1911 that was 7 million ish. 2009 Mike Trout card was about 4.6.
Man, whoever got that money, good job.
1955 Roberto Clemente card and a 2011 Mike Trout card. So those are the ones that have gone for over $1 million.
That's
Skenes will probably get that much. I just want to know why you offer a child from across the country a Pirates themed.
Yeah.
It's like he's not he could be a Paul Skenes fan, but he's not enough to go to Pittsburgh for 30 years.
I grew up loving the San Francisco Giants. If this would have happened with like the Brewers, I would have been like, pound sand.
No thanks. Kick rocks.
Either get Barry Bonds to my 12th birthday party,
right,
or we're not even on the phone.
Figure out a 3-team trade where you give something to my team, and my team gives me 30 years of season tickets behind home plate.
Oh my God, Dodgers season tickets.
Figure it
Get
out,
Paul
but
Skenes to the Dodgers.
What a half-ass to an 11-year-old to be like, look at all this money, and then you're like,
It is that kid, the thought that the general manager of Pittsburgh is calling this kid and he's picking up the phone. He's going, what do you got? And he goes, all right, softball game, Livy Dunn pitches. I don't know. We name a hot dog after you? He goes, call back when it's better. He's like just eating candy, watching TV. And then he calls back. He's like, all right, one of the sausages in the race will be you.
Okay, we're going to make you a character in Fortnite. We're going to...
Oh, my own skin? Take the money, kid.
Take the money. Sell it. Take the money.
Invest.
I also find it very strange that Paul Skenes wants the Paul Skenes 1 of 1. It's like, make it 2, don't tell anybody, and give 1 to Paul Skenes. It's Paul. It's his.
It's him.
It's like, well, if you want it so bad, just like have them give you 1.
They give back the jersey and there's just a little square out of it.
Great.
He's like, we got so much more to work with.
Great. All right, Dan, last story. I know you're a big Kendrick Lamar fan.
I mean, yeah, he's very good. White guys saying they're big Kendrick Lamar fans feels weird.
You're a regular-sized Kendrick Lamar fan. You enjoy Kendrick Lamar's work, but you're not loud or obnoxious about it. Does this feel right? Does that fit better?
That fits.
He is performing in the Super Bowl halftime show. Probably one of the main drivers, I think, at this point for a lot of people to tune in, given the fact that it's the Chiefs again. And
people are very, they're very opinionated about him doing it.
Yeah,
it's because it's not an old artist that everyone has fond memories of. Like when you do like Aerosmith, everyone's like,
yeah, but since when does it have to be that? Like we've done it before, but I do feel like I remember when we went to the Super Bowl in Atlanta, that wasn't like old artists. I don't think
when we went to Miami, it was J-Lo and Shakira.
Yeah. Which I stand by saying Shakira could have done that on her own.
Who was last year? Rihanna was the year before that. Last year, I was there, and I forget who was there.
Who's last?
Oh, Usher.
Which was it was good.
Incredible live.
That was a good nostalgia play. Like
I think they do back and forth, but this one seems to be like
SZA and Kendrick Lamar, and I bet probably more people.
Yes,
but
the surprises will be fun.
But the story that I wanted to talk to you about is that he is planning to perform the Drake diss track at the Super Bowl. And I assume that means the Not Like Us, because I think there were multiple.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That would be
is he
wild.
Do all of them would be pretty.
If he went from Euphoria to like all, he just goes through them. You're like, it's just a whole halftime. He's dissing one guy.
But he said he, quote, can't be silenced despite lawsuit threat.
Yeah, that's just him being upset about the lawsuit because Drake took it to court. But also, when you look at the lawsuit, it's more to do with Drake and his relationship with his record company because his contract is coming up and they're trying to like kind of fuck him over. And that's why he's suing him. But it also is you were in a very public beef with a guy and now you're suing about it. So it doesn't look good.
At all.
To go like, that's going to the teacher. You're going like, you said something mean at recess. I'm going to the teacher.
Straight to the teacher.
And going like, yeah, I do have a little bit of.
Straight to the teacher after trying to say something mean back and then getting like even further stuffed and then going, I'm going to teacher.
But to have empathy
Yeah.
with Aubrey,
Yeah.
imagine someone doing a shit talk on you at the pinnacle event, one of the only things left. The World Series is 7 games. NBA Finals is 7 games. No one really, people watch the All-Star game, but it's not like, this is the fucking Super Bowl. This is non-football
The most expensive
fans.
commercial on television because
2-9.
everybody tunes in.
Matthew McConaughey becomes Mike Ditka.
Gotta see it. Can't wait to
Uber
see.
Eats. Jerry's eating rice.
Jerry's eating rice.
Jerry's eating rice. Fluoride in the water. But the one signature event, and then someone's going to talk shit about you on the biggest stage.
Not just talk shit, like
Call you a pedophile.
yeah.
You're
so
like-
I guess my question is like, do you think they're gonna let him?
I bet what they do in these situations is you hear a and he does a couple lines, maybe even just
That's
the
a really good
chorus.
point. That's a good
and
point.
then he goes into something from
Which
his new album.
Most artists do. Like Rihanna did like little snippets from all of her songs.
And that's
It's
what
like
he's, because with Kendrick Lamar and doing the Super Bowl show, he's not just doing Squabble Up, and it's not SNL. He's not doing a song and then leaving. He's doing a medley. So it's going to be all the way back from Good Kid, Mad City, all through his albums, all the big hits. So the Not Like Us is going to be the beat's going to hit.
Yeah,
and people are
going to go nuts.
People are going to know it. And he'll probably just do the not like
Yeah.
Now, if he has Lil Wayne come out and do a verse, that's like probably. I just want Lil Wayne to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I want my two dads.
Do you want Lil Wayne to show up if he shows up in
Lil Wayne state?
Yeah.
I hope it's a sharp appearance. I just hope he shows up.
Yeah.
It would be really cool if Kendrick brought Lil Wayne out in New Orleans
Yeah.
at whatever it's called now, the Caesars Superdome.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
that
well,
they
'cause-
can
well, it's-
name it after a
Well, Mercedes-Benz, it was Mercedes-Benz, but
Yeah.
now that's Atlanta.
right.
So that's weird. I don't like that it moves around. You can't
You
move
shouldn't
around.
be able. I shouldn't have to call. I think stadiums should have the name that they are, and then if you buy the name, it goes like after the name that they like. Camden Yards always should be Camden Yards.
Fenway should always be
right.
Fenway.
And I. But you definitely should not get the name. We shouldn't have to call you the new name of the company that then a couple years later can leave and go be somebody else's company.
Well, that's why growing up in Denver, it was always Mile High Stadium. And when they made the new one, it was like, it's Invesco, it's Mile.
At Mile
and you're like,
High.
no, just call
it's
it
just
Mile
Mile
High.
High.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough of your companies. Stop encroaching on our stuff.
Happy birthday.
Hey, thanks.
I think you're the greatest human being on the planet, and I love you.
I love you too.
Happy birthday to
Oh, you guys.
you.
You guys.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Katie. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks, you guys.
Make a wish.
Okay.
Great. That is a fire hazard.
Thanks, everybody.
People
Look
at
at this
home are
adorable little
clapping.
cake. This just for me?
It's just for
All
you.
by myself?
It's just icing. It's cardboard with icing on it. So
Thank you.
Marissa got that. Marissa
Thanks,
and the team.
Maris.
Marissa and the team got it.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks.
Let's go eat junk food and sit in our
Let's
sweats.
just play video games in our sweats tonight for my birthday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Deal.
Maybe a
Done.
6 o'clock tournament.
Oh, hey, everybody. If you're playing Rocket League tonight and you're in the 6 p.m. tournament, watch out for the 2v2. Tony Llama Boots. Tony Llama Boots.
Tony Llama Boots. We're just waiting for the lights to turn off.
I'm just waiting for the lights to turn off. Yeah.
Okay, Dan Soder, thank you for being here. I love you so much. Thank you for the cake.
One right here for the camera? Right here for the other camera? Great. Okay, great. Good night.